What's up, everyone? We are here with the Deeper Podcast. How's everybody doing?
We're here, man. We're live, rocking it out.
Caleb with his own mic. How we doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh, there we go.
Got that own mic going today.
And the only thing we need now is a Caleb cam.
A Caleb cam. I don't know if we're ready for the Caleb
We do
cam.
not
That's
need a Caleb
what we've
cam.
talked about.
He's lounging on the couch currently.
We'll have to just full on fire you if we get the Caleb cam.
He's gonna start wearing a lapel and just laying down on the couch.
The funniest
So no
part
one
is
knows.
Caleb is dressed like Sunday morning, and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt.
Y'all
But he's
might
behind the
should
mic.
switch seats maybe.
Yeah, he's behind the mic.
Yeah. Just we're just kind of here. Look kind of like we're hanging out in a family room.
Great.
It's just a real subtle transition. Do you like that?
That was a great segue.
We're just yes, my family room looks like a studio.
Feels like home.
My house has lights in it shining on me all the time.
Custom
With a custom
acrylic.
sign that just says Rusty's house. So
With the awesome like black carpet.
yeah, it's a look. So
Yeah, it
what did
feels
we
like
talk
home
about
in here.
yesterday?
We went home yesterday.
We went home.
All of us. The rapture happened.
Oh
Every one of us
wow!
went
No, we
home.
did not talk about the rapture yesterday.
A
at all.
different home. Sorry,
different home.
temporary.
Yeah, the family of God. That's what we talked about. New series. Welcome
Family of
home.
God.
That's what we're chatting about these days. What it means for us to live as the family of God. So, trying to think through that a little bit in this season. I think it's a worthy conversation, important for us to have.
Yeah, we you kind of walked through a text that we walked through when you first got here 2 years ago.
Not even 2
years ago.
Yeah, but actually, First Timothy was this year.
Oh yeah,
like that.
it was
Yeah,
this year.
that was like a few
Yeah.
months ago. Yeah.
The idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's
First
crazy.
Timothy, we walked through.
Oh my gosh.
I think maybe the whole thing in January is when we
Yeah, it
started.
was
I don't
January.
know. I don't know when we started it for sure. We may have taken a break during the holidays, but long story short, we wrapped up First Timothy in 2025.
that was 2025.
Yeah, so it does feel like it's been a minute now, but
That
we're
really does,
way
yeah.
into 2025 as well.
Crazy.
But yeah, so we walked through First Timothy, and while we walked through it, we found this one verse that we said this is really the heart of this letter, and basically Paul's purpose statement. Here's what it says: 1 Timothy 3:15. But if I should be delayed, I have written so that you will know how people ought to conduct themselves in God's household, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and foundation of the truth. So yeah, that's the text that we looked at, and Paul says, if I'm not able to make it, I want you guys to know how church ought to function. So really, that's I don't remember what we called the First Timothy series. We
I
probably
honestly
called it
can't remember.
multiple things, but basically it was how do we do church? What should the church look like? And we went to this letter to discover that. So this is what Paul is trying to tell them in the 6 chapters of First Timothy. But what we did in particular yesterday was hone in on this concept that Paul introduces here in this text, where he says that the church is the household of faith. It's the household of God. So when he talks about the church being the household of God, God's household, the CSB says, we brought up the idea of being the family of God and what that looks like. So the sermon had really 2 big things that were the 2 overarching truths before we got to the applications. And the overarching truths were the significance of the church. And then once we know the significance of the church, we have to understand that church is a family. So we started by talking about the significance of the church, which I think is something in 2025, it's pretty popular to disregard the church.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of people are, I'm spiritual, but I don't do the whole church thing. Like that's common.
Yeah. Was that a trend when you were coming up into like your early 20s? Because for Caleb and I in our age, that was the popular deconstruction. Like, it's okay to do this. It's okay to not be in that building. We're just going to go and do our thing, live our life, but we're really strong Christians. Like when I first, came to Christ like at 17, from like 17 to pretty much now, like all these years, these past few years, it's been like a huge, like trendy thing to do.
Yeah.
Was that for you?
Well, ironically, and we're going to get to, I guess we'll talk about the applications a little bit here in a couple minutes, but that phrase, the church is not a people, or the church is not a place, it's a people.
Yeah.
People took that application and ran with it to essentially say church doesn't matter, but if you're not gathering with the church, you're not a church.
Yeah.
If you're not gathering with the church, you're not a church. So, yes, the church isn't a building. So people will say, well, I don't have to come to church to be a Christian because the church isn't a building. The church is people. Okay, but if you're not gathering with the saints, you're not a church. You can't have a church without a gathering. So yes, wherever you're meeting, you could meet in your house. You could do things like that with other believers. But if you're not gathering with other saints, other believers, then you can't call yourselves a church. And what we said yesterday is that when you read the New Testament, you realize you can't really have a church without, you can't really have be in God's will without having a church.
Yeah.
That yes, you can be a Christian and not go to church. Technically, that is true. But what I said yesterday is you can't be a Christian living in God's will unless you're part of a church, because the New Testament makes it abundantly clear that the church is the way God moves and works in his people. We said this about the text. Caleb, this is just dropping on me, isn't it? Slowly but surely. We're just, you don't even have to edit this out. Hey, we're doing it live. No, I got it. What are you... Are you saying this in the microphone or no?
No, you're reaching
So
funny.
for those who didn't hear that on the microphone, Caleb said, do you need me to come over there and tighten it?
I'm trying not to laugh into the mic.
You took it the wrong way.
Oh, now he turned the mic to defend himself. He turned
I
on
did,
the mic
and
to
I will
defend himself.
continue.
Son, do you need me to come tighten it?
Hey,
for
buddy.
you?
Hey, little buddy. You need me to come tighten it for you?
Oh, man. That highlighted
Hey,
my
you
day.
weakling. You want me to come over there and...
Oh, that's so funny.
Anyways, so yes, you can't be part of the kingdom work that God is doing outside of the local church. And the evidence that I pointed to yesterday, at least in one of the services, I said this wasn't in my notes, but in the moment it came to me. Like all the letters in the New Testament are written not to individuals. Now, yes, you've got Timothy and Titus, but those are written to pastors leading churches. You've got Philemon. So there are a couple of examples, but by and large, the letters in the New Testament, the books of the New Testament, are written to who?
Groups
the church.
of people gathering together.
They're written to the church. So you can't be a believer, living in the will of God outside of being part of a local body church. It's just critical.
How are you going to grow if you don't go to church for the next 6 weeks, right? Which also means you'd be fired. But if you didn't go to church for the next 6 to 8 weeks of your life, in that time span, how are you going? What are the actual ways you're going to grow in your faith in Christ?
Yeah.
There probably is not. I mean, you might read some.
There are some tangible ways you could still be having a growing, but God has called us to do this together. And one of our messages we'll talk in a couple weeks about the idea of following Jesus not being a solo project. Like it's not something you were created to do on your own, that you will not reach where the Lord wants you to be. You will not be able to be where the Lord wants you to be isolated.
100%.
So we've got to be walking with him and walking with others on this journey of faith. And that's where the church comes in. So the church is super significant. We talked about the classic illustration of, the bride of Christ is what the Bible refers to the church as. And what I said is, if you say, hey, Rusty, I like you, but I don't like your bride, we aren't going to have a relationship. We're not going to be close. Yet that's what people do today is, I'm not a big fan of the church, but I love Jesus. Well, that's not how it works, because Jesus loves his bride and is all about his bride. So if you love Jesus and want to follow Jesus, then you need to be part of the local church. So that's something we talked about that I think hopefully stuck with some of our folks, because even some of the people there probably, our church is big enough. We have folks who come visit us, once every handful of months, and they probably would consider themselves serious Christ followers, but they would say that. Like, I don't really need to come to church. Well, we're hoping to kind of show them in this season why this matters and why you need it. But one of the reasons that I think we struggle with this is because we don't actually understand how the church should function. The American church has become a show. The American church has become an event that you come to and attend. And I think that there's been a pushback against that, and people say, I don't need that. And I think they might be right. I don't need, if it's just about having good music and good preaching, get on YouTube, bro. Yep. Like, you could find better preachers than me, easy. You can find better music than we do, easy. Like, if that's what we're trying to do, why are you coming to Central Buena?
Yeah.
If it's just about the best show possible, go to Lumberton.
Yep.
Go to Beaumont. Like they're paying musicians and they like do it. Like if that's what you're after, the best show possible, this ain't going to be it.
Nope.
But that's not what it's about. But unfortunately, I think a lot of churches, and again, us included at times, start to see it that way. And we treat church like that instead of like a family. And I think people have seen that it's not really a family, so they don't feel the need to have to belong to it in a different way. Church is just something they come to. It's not who they actually are. So that's what we've got to shift. And that was the second big truth of the message, that the church is the family of God. And I know I said it, this is not revolutionary teaching. Nobody is just blown away at this concept. But here's what I know. We don't really live as if the church is family. We talk about it. It's kind of like the baloney of people saying, we're family at work. Have you heard, people say that? Like, this is my work family. And then everyone kind of behind the scenes is like, not really family. And I've always, I've had employees. I've been on, the church I was at before I came here had a larger staff. So I had 9 people that worked under me. And I remember always talking about being a family and then like seeing the memes about, oh, your work family. Oh, yeah, your boss always says that. And I remember being convicted and being like, am I that boss? Is this us? But then remembering, no, we are a church. This is different. We really do have to be family if we're going to make this work. So I think about that in the context of our church. Do we function as a family or do we all just go to church together? Because there's a big difference. And I think right now, a lot of people go to Central Buena, but I don't know that a lot of people really are connected as family in Central Buena. That's a cold, hard reality, but it's just the truth.
Yeah. We, like you said it in one of your next, I don't want to jump ahead, but I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's a part of our system that we've built here. It's a systematic thing for us. A part of our daily, weekly system is to be here physically, listen, and then leave and go. And that's what we've done for a long time, and it's been okay. Like things have still been good while doing that. So then why change it? You know what I mean? And I think that's the mindset of a lot of our modern churches today. Good things are happening when we just have it as a part of our little system that we've created.
Yeah, we don't want church to be too invasive on our lives.
Yeah, exactly. But good things
I love
are
church.
happening.
Yeah, I love church as long as it makes me feel good and I feel happy and it doesn't really ask too much of me.
Yeah.
Because family means sacrifice.
Yeah.
Family means, getting up at 5:30
Yep.
so I can help Mallory get ready and help get the kids ready for school. Like, family means you've got to do things that are uncomfortable and put yourself in uncomfortable positions for the good of your family. You have to sacrifice for your family. You make decisions based on your family. And none of us want that associated with church. We actually want a church that's just going to meet our needs and satisfy us and make us feel good and give us what our felt needs are instead of saying, I want to come and give to the church so that we can be on mission for Christ. Two very different paradigms. And even though I know that theologically, I think most of our people would be like, yeah, that's who we are. We're the family.
Yeah, they know
one.
it's right. Yeah.
But I don't think, honestly, most of the time we actually live as if that's the reality.
Again, I really think it comes down to it. If you're seeing tangible results of just being here, of most of our congregation just coming to church, being here present on Sunday mornings, and then leaving, but then they are seeing results happening that are good. They're seeing numbers grow. They're seeing people being discipled, people getting baptized and saved. Then it's easy for them to go, well, I'm doing good. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm coming here once a week, maybe twice a month, once a month. I'm here for a Sunday morning, and good things are happening, so I must be doing my part.
Yeah.
So it is hard. We're trying to show you guys, like we're not trying to like bash everybody over the head of this is what you got to do. We're trying to convict y'all and encourage y'all to see that this is a different mindset than what we've been doing. But it's hard to convince people to do that when they're seeing good results happen in spite of them not necessarily doing exactly what God has challenged us and called us to do, and to be a church family. Yeah. So that's a hard thing. That's a hard hill to climb. You know, to show like, hey guys, like this is not exactly.
I think most people don't know what they need till they have it.
Yeah, that's
true. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you don't know what you're missing till you experience it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's church for a lot of people. Yeah. And that's, you talk about having small groups or Bible study classes. And until you get connected, you didn't know that you missed it.
Yeah.
Until you take that next step and find a place to serve, you didn't know the blessing you were missing out on. Like that's so much of everything in our lives. And that's what we are trying to do through this series, is show people that there's more. There's more to the Christian life than coming and showing up for a thing, but that God actually wants to add you to a forever family. He wants you to understand that this thing is way bigger and way better than you could think or imagine. So, what you said earlier, it's not about bashing people over the head, and that's not really what the heart of this has been at all. But you do have to confront some of the American ideas of church that we have placed above the reality of who we're called to be in Christ. And that's where, it's hard to do, but you do have to bust that ground up, because we have turned church into something it's not. And that's where, after these two big truths, we went into these applications that were trying to unlearn some things about the church. And that's where the first one was, church is a people, not a place. The first thing we have to recognize is that this church is not just a place we come to. It's not just a thing we do, but we are the church, the people of God at Central Buna. We are the church of Jesus Christ. And that's a hard thing, I think, for people to wrap their minds around. That's really the foundation of the whole thing. If you know you're the church, then it changes everything for you.
Yeah. No,
So
100%.
Yeah. So the second application, what was it?
Church is about the mission, not the methodology.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like it's a method thing that we do. We just add it into kind of our little system that we built, right? And it's not actually something that we're striving for, the mission that everything else is built around. We kind of just place it a little bit once a week, right? And that's the complete opposite. That's literally the complete opposite of what all of the New Testament writers show us. Like, Paul repeatedly is writing letters to these churches because they're treating it as a method and not a mission. Like, we're on Wednesday night, starting this week with our students, we're walking through 1 Corinthians. The entire letter, and the second one, is to the church who has made it a method and not a mission. They ate together in the wrong way. They worshiped together in the wrong way. Like, their method of doing everything was completely inaccurate of what Paul told them to do in the first place, and he's just correcting them to show them the actual mission. Like, that's what the whole letters are about, right?
Yeah.
And thousands of years later, we are still doing the same thing.
Yeah. So that one is that it's not about the methodology; it's about the mission. Is saying that, we get hung up on style and preference and the way we do things instead of the mission of God. And tried to say that in the sermon yesterday, that it's not about, cool hip churches versus traditional churches, which I think people easily get drug into those lanes, or any of that stuff. It's about keeping the mission of God at the forefront of everything that we do. And it's real easy to get distracted and scattered and make church something that it's not. But we've got to be ruthlessly focused on the mission of God above everything else, instead of getting drawn off sides into all the controversies and debates of all these different things. And yeah, like you said, that's what Paul does in many of his letters. It's like, you're getting hung up on this theological debate or this theological debate, or this person teaches this way, this person teaches that way, instead of trusting in the Lord's work and being on mission for him together. So yeah, critical that we get that right.
Yeah, a question I probably get more than anything when it comes to church, and especially talking to people who are at one church for a long time, then they leave because of something and they go to a different church, or they're leaving their current church and looking for other churches. And I'm sure you get this way more, but the question they always ask is, like, what should I be looking for? And most of the time they're wanting me to affirm what they're wanting in their church, right? But if somebody came up to you later today and walked in here and said, hey, I'm not in a church right now, I'm looking at different churches, what do I need to look for in a church? What is your way of kind of showing them that it's about the mission instead of it? Because I have these conversations all the time, and sometimes I struggle because I don't want to be too harsh on them, but I want them to know that if you have a place that you're growing in Christ Jesus, regardless of what you think about the music and the preaching and all that, if you're growing, if you're plugged in, that is where you need to be a part of that family. But how would you kind of guide that conversation?
Yeah, where is God calling you?
Yeah.
That's the question I ask. I mean, when people come and visit our church, that's the thing I say. If the Lord's calling you here, we'd love to have you. But I've said this to many families, and there have been families who left and never came back when I said stuff like this. But if God doesn't want you here, we don't want you here. That kind of messes people up because they're not used to hearing that. Because they're used to, we see a family with children come in. How do we got to get them? We got to seal the deal. How do we get these people to come? And it's like, that's not what we're about, man. We're not about trying to make sure we get all the customers to come here.
Yeah.
We're not a cruise ship. We're not trying to show them all the amenities we have. And so I ask people, why is God calling you here? Why do you think God's called you here? So it's not about what do you like about our church that you don't like about your other church. Like that's not the way this thing should work.
100%. Yeah.
Yet it's complicated for us and it's hard. It's harder for a church like ours, honestly, to not focus on methodology and focus on the mission because we do have, I would say, far better than average music for our area, which may sound arrogant to say that, but I just think it's true. Our lay leaders, Brother Caleb is gifted, but also he has built up a great crew of servant leaders around him that are gifted on their instruments. And even in the past year, our music has gotten significantly better in the last 100%. Year. But even before that, even before we got better, it was better than a lot of churches in our area. Again, I don't know if I should be saying this directly on the camera. I don't think anyone else is watching this, but it's true. And some of that is because the Lord has provided. Our church is big enough. We have a full-time vocational music minister.
Yeah, that's
so
huge,
it's hard for a church down the road that has 40 people that is not paying their music team anything. But again, they're also outliers. I could also take you to probably a church of 50, 60 people that the music is like, how in the world is this awesome? But it is. So, but again, it's not about the music and the quality of the music. But when we have a church that does, by God's grace, and we're thankful, we have quality music. How do you make sure people aren't coming for that? Preaching. I hope that our preaching and communication is good and that it is engaging and that people enjoy it. And I know that there are people who enjoy my communication style and want to come and listen to the sermons here. But that shouldn't be why you come, because of the way I communicate. So it is very complicated. And when you have gifted people on the platform, it can be that people are coming because of the platform. So I think you have to work hard and go out of your way. And that's what series like this are in a certain extent. And, the idea that it feels like we may be coming down heavy on people. Well, I am in some ways almost having to compensate for the fact that that if we're not careful, this is a pretty seeker-sensitive outfit. And you and I have kind of debated about this some. Like we talk about the growth of our church and the growth of our youth group even, and you're like, man, we're not even doing anything special. We're just reading the Bible. And I kind of bursted your bubble. I was like, yeah, we're not doing anything special except, like a gifted, younger than usual youth pastor is here. And his wife is the head cheerleading coach, and his sibling is an athlete and have connections to all the people. Like there's a bunch of really practical reasons that, the youth group's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's not just, I don't know, man, I just rolled the Bible out here and this happened. Like we know there's gifting and work and connections that made that happen. Right. Yeah. And it's the same for us. Like our church growth here can be described by, we have a younger,
Rusty's great.
We have a younger, unique pastor. We have a young, gifted worship leader and worship team. And our quote unquote product is very good here. And our product is great in youth ministry. We do a youth ministry about as well as it can be done. Our children's ministry and our pre-K nursery is about as well as it can be done. So when the quote unquote product is good, you almost have to overcompensate by telling people it's not a product. It's not a product. We're not trying to just make a thing. So, but you and I have also had that conversation of, okay, so the answer isn't to, okay, we're going to start sucking now.
Yeah.
Like, no more good music. Rusty, preach Habakkuk every week for the next 10 weeks, one verse at a time, and be not engaging. Like we can't, that's not the answer, is to try to make a bad product. We want to be excellent in everything that we do, but because the Lord has blessed us with these gifts, we want to make sure that people know this is a mission, not a show. This is not a product. This is a people. This is a family God's trying to build. So we have to kind of confront that sometimes in what ways that may feel prophetic and challenging to people. And that's what we're trying to do in this season. And the genesis of this, I guess we can talk about that. I went to Wichita a couple weeks ago and loved the church there like I love this church here. But we had 5 years of relationship there, and it's a church that is about 20 years old, so it has a lot of water under the bridge. After church is done, Mallory and I and 3 or 4 other families with a ton of kids sat there at the front of that auditorium and talked and visited for 45 minutes or so. Kids are just running around like they own the place, loving each other, having a good time, spending time together. Mallory and I walked out, and as we were driving to our next destination to see some friends, I just told her, when was the last time we had a moment like that at Central? And it was the realization, and I told y'all this earlier, because you could easily say, well, y'all are from out of town and y'all are visiting, but that was an almost every week occurrence when we were in Wichita. And I told Mallory, one thing that disheartens me here is that when we say amen on a Sunday morning, bam, they are gone. Brother Delbert said, this is an old reference for some of our older folks. Brother Delbert said, it's always been that way. He said, it's kind of like the Lone Ranger, hi-ho, silver away, when you say amen at the end of a service. And then apparently at the end of the program, the Lone Ranger, at the end of it, it would say hi-ho, silver away. And then it would say, who was that man? He's like, that's how I feel about our church sometimes. He's like, hi-ho, silver away as soon as the ending prayer is done. And then you kind of turn around and say, who was that? Because we don't ever get to know each other. And there's some practical reasons that happens. Brittany, our early childhood development director, we were talking about this in staff and saying, how do we build this family atmosphere? Brittany brought up a good point. We've got a lot of shift workers, a lot of people who maybe their only day off is Friday. So they've got an agenda. They got things they got to do. And we're thankful they make church a part of their rhythm. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we need 75 people hanging out after church for an hour. That's not the only thing that's indicative of family. But I just remember when I left the church there in Wichita thinking, we are missing something that they have a little bit more of. And how do I bring that to Central Buna? How do we build that culture here where people are knitted together in a real and significant way? We're not just coming to church together, we're actually here. And that only happens with intentional time and some intentionality. In fact, I'll tell you, it's always hard to talk about, but the family I did have that with was Daniel and Hannah and their kids. Oftentimes y'all would leave us still visiting, and we would stay here way too late. And some weeks it would be Hannah and Mallory, and I would be telling Daniel, like, gosh, we got to go. And Daniel would say, we got to go. And then more often than not, it was the girls saying, hey, we got to go. We got that thing. We got to go. But we had that. So it's hard when I look around and don't feel like we have enough of that. And I'm not just talking personally, I'm talking about as a church. But there are signs of it happening and signs of it growing. So I don't want to just discourage you. But what I'm saying is I have seen the fruit of intentional fellowship. I've seen the fruit of intentional family life in a church. And I want that for Central Buna.
Yeah, man.
I want us to see in 10 years that there are several families that are knit together in real and significant ways. And because of that, everything changes. So that's what I'm hoping to see. And that's what I'm trying to explore in this series. I told Mallory last night, she said, what are you preaching next week? I said, I don't even know yet. Like, we're just kind of taking this a week at a time and thinking about what it means to be a family and asking the Lord to show us through his word what it looks like to do that. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, man. The last line you had yesterday was the church is who we are, not something we do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect sum up of what we've been talking about the past few minutes. We are the church. We make it up. We are a family who love one another, want to spend time with one another. Kate and I are our best friends here in Buna. All of our family is here. Like, most of our family that we grew up with is here in Buna, which is a huge reason why we jumped on the opportunity to come back. Our family's here. It is awesome. Our high school friends, our childhood friends are all here. We hang out with, on a weekly basis, the people who we hang out with the most are people we have met here at the church that weren't here when I was here as a youth. Like, there's a ton of people that I was in church with here. Most of them are small group leaders now. But, like, the friends that we call our best friends who we spend most of our quality time with are people we met when we came back. Just in random occurrences. Just started talking, and now we're super close. And that has been the biggest blessing for myself and for Kate. And I want that for more people in our church. So I agree, man.
And we'll talk about this some more down the road, but that did just happen, but it wasn't just organic. It was organic, but then it became intentional.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
So
for sure.
So now y'all go over there, is it Sunday nights? Every Sunday night,
Yeah.
by and large, y'all go over there and spend time together.
Yeah.
And of course, there's other opportunities too, but by and large, even in the busiest of weeks,
Yep.
on Sunday night, y'all are going to be at their house.
Yep.
And that's how you've developed this. It wasn't just like, they're kind of neat people.
Oh, yeah, no,
I
no,
like
no.
going to church with them. No, it had to get intentional. And that's where I think we're missing some next steps here.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are in our church, we love going to church together. We love that we go to church with them. But to make that next level and actually become family, it's going to require some sacrifice of your time. It's going to require some sacrifice of your energy. And so church isn't just something we come to. It's who you are. And that means it's going to run into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays too. And that's a little bit scary. But guess what? When the alarm went off at 5:30, I got up and started doing things for my family. And that includes you guys. I was thinking about y'all. I pray for y'all every day, our staff in particular. I'm working for things beyond myself from the jump. And I want our whole church feeling that in this season and working towards that. So,
Love it, man.
We'll walk that way with the Lord, see what he does.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. I think this is going to be encouraging for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We just want them to. We want all of you to hear our hearts behind it, and so I think that was good. So I enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll see what we got next week.
Yeah. How long we gone, Caleb? How long has this been? Do you even time this thing
really
anymore?
Feels like we've been going for a while.
It's been about 30 minutes.
About
cool.
30 minutes.
Perfect.
That's generic.
31.
About
31.
31. All right.
Nice,
Well, you
perfect
recorded
time.
a long time, so
31 and 25 seconds.
this is how we're going to start ending every episode by random
start
banter. That's
talking.
what we did last
And then
time.
just
How'd this
fades-
thing go?
fades
And then,
away.
then as we talked, So thanks for listening.
yeah.
We'll be back next week, man.
Yeah.
Rocking this thing out. Oh,
See
we're
you
doing the
guys later.
point. It's back.
Actually, it's honestly just an instinct.
It was a
I just
reflex. It's
pointed it.
back. The point is back.
See y'all later. Peace.